Hi, I'm Catherine, and today I want to share with you the 3 essential things you need to craft a product experience that people will remember. See, each of your customers is telling themselves and their friends a story about you and your business and your product. You can either be the hero or the villain. And spoiler, if we think about it like movies, the hero is the one that dies on the good side.
It was said that you would destroy this and not join them.
So in 2020 and onwards, simply taking a killer product, app, or service to a marketplace that's crowded already is just not really good enough anymore. Consumers don't just want your product, they want you to make them feel valued for buying it. So today, it's customer experience that rules supreme over everything and crowns the e-commerce winners and losers. You need to find a way to build positive and memorable experiences into your products, or they're gonna risk dying a slow death in the sea of many options that are growing every single day. In this video, I'll be sharing the framework that I use when designing an experience. So whether you sell physical products, services, digital products, your goal should not be to only sell products. It should be creating an experience for your customers. Now, when we launched Best Self in 2015, we launched with a single product on Kickstarter, which was the Self Journal. Since then, we've grown from a simple idea to a remote team shipping products globally all over the world. We won the Shopify Build a Business competition in 2016. We went on to win the Shopify Build a Bigger Business in 2017, and then the Inc. 5000 list in 2019 and 2020. And I don't say this to brag, I say this to show you what it takes to get there. All of this may sound impressive, but it all started from us figuring out how to create an experience for our customers. Now, what is an experience? What does this mean when I'm talking about this? This is the customer journey from the beginning, from when they first see your product or your brand or your service to what they think about it afterwards. See, there's a huge gap between selling a commodity and selling an experience, but the riches lie in filling this gap. Think about Starbucks and how they took a commodity like coffee and they created an entire experience around it. Now we just take it for granted, but when Howard Schultz created Starbucks, his goal was to create a unique experience to separate themselves from other coffee shops so that you weren't going to get coffee, you were going to get Starbucks. He said it was to be the third place between home and work, a place that provides comfortable chairs, chill music, the internet, and of course coffee, but it's the last thing he mentioned. So from the beginning, he wanted it to feel like a continental coffee shop, something that you find in Europe. And again, this is not something that America had seen before. So when places like Dunkin' Donuts use the term small, medium, and large, Starbucks had tall, grande, venti, as well as fancy sounding drinks like cafe americano, cafe misto, macchiato. And this may sound like just what they called things, but when Starbucks made the experience feel different to us, we stopped using prices at chains like Dunkin' Donuts as an anchor, because instead of looking at them, we started thinking of Starbucks as a whole other experience. And this meant they could charge more than other places serving just coffee because they had all of these other things. I mean, think about it. How much fancier do you feel about ordering a grande Americano than a medium coffee? For a lot of people, enough to pay an extra $1 at least. And that, to a great extent, is the genesis of how Starbucks rose to the top and distinguished itself by creating its own experience. Now, the experience economy has and will continue to change the way that we design and deliver products. And if you know about experience, you know about Apple. So Apple is probably the most famous company for its product experience because for them, nothing is too small to be considered. They can turn even the smallest thing into a feature. A company where simple actions are created to create moments of delight. An example of this would be the act of emptying your trash on a Mac as compared to a Windows. If you've ever done it, you know that it feels different. There's also the physical aspect of their products and the packaging. If you've ever bought an Apple computer, you know what it feels like to open it, to unbox it. The unboxing experience is second to none. They always think about every small detail. In fact, many of us, me included, maybe you watching this video, have a hard time disposing of the boxes afterwards, and so our closets look a little like this. And this picture was taken when I lived in New York City, which means I was essentially paying rent to store these Apple boxes because I couldn't bear to throw it away. Now, I know what you're thinking, Apple sells cool products and they have an unlimited budget. What can I do? I don't have the budget or the resources or what Apple has. What can I do? Well, think about Harry's. Harry's sell razors, AKA the most boring thing in the world before they did it. Like imagine meeting someone at a party and they say, oh, I work for a razor company. You'd be like, okay, cool. And then you would make an excuse to go away.
Oh man, I'm really happy to see you. All right. You stupid
But they tell you to work for Harry's or Dollar Shave Club even.
Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are great.
You're like, oh, tell me more about that. And it's way more interesting, not because of the actual product, because of the brand, of how they make you feel. And that is the difference between a product and creating an experience. You would have way more questions for them than maybe someone that, you know, worked for Gillette or whatever. So this is the result of creating experience. And all of this is just to say, you just have to make people think differently about your product than they do about your competitor or about someone else. Like, how do you do that? And there are 3 acts of product experience. So if you think of it like you think of a play, it's a 3-part act between the beginning, the middle, and the end. So the first part is the beginning. Obviously, it's the visceral part. This is your immediate natural reaction to the product, to the website, to the design, to the feel, to the texture, to the color. When you see a product or you go to a website, you have a visceral reaction to it that is natural. You can't really hide it and you can't really control it. And this is the first part of it. So if you think of Apple, we just talked about that, or Best Self, we had feelings of how do we want people to feel when they get to our website, and that's how we focused on that product experience. The second part is behavioral. So it might look good, but this is the cut and dry part. How do we show how it works? Like, is it clear to someone how they use it, what they do with it in the first 10 minutes of getting it, how they act? Is it functional? Does it work? Does it solve the problem that they bought it for? This is typically like the function part. So form is the visceral part, function is user experience, ease of use. Do I need a manual to be able to use it? All of that stuff falls into the second act. And then 3, reflective. How does someone remember your product or your company? Part 3 is the woo-woo area, kind of. So it's like fluffy and you don't really know how to explain it, but it triggers memories, associations. Can we tell a story around it? Does it appeal to our self-image? Something might remind us of our childhood, and so we have a better memory of it. Something might make us feel better about ourselves, and so we feel like a better person because we have it. There's just a lot of different things that you can get with this third part if you focus on it. So those are the 3 parts of creating the customer experience. And in the next video, I'll show you in detail what we did at Best Self to actually create this. Like, what did we do to have people go through the visceral part, the behavioral part, and then how did people feel about us after?